My own son tried to kill me, and I only survived because of a secret my husband just confessed. What I discovered about my family will haunt you forever. My name is Hilda Moore. I'm 60 years old. And if you think you know what family betrayal looks like, I promise you don't. 3 days ago, my own son stood behind me on a mountain trail, placed his hands on my back, pushed. But that wasn't the moment that broke me. The moment that broke me was when my husband whispered, while we lay shattered at the bottom of a cliff, "Hilda, don't marvi. Pretend you're dead." Because only then did I realize something far worse than the fall itself. This wasn't an accident. This was planned. For 40 years, I believed I had built a good life. A quiet one. A safi one. My husband, Henry, and I lived in a modest, suburban home where mornings smelled like coffee and fresh bread. I taught 2nd grade at the local elementary school, and Henry ran a small woodworking shop behind the house. He made tables, cabinets, rocking chairs, pieces people passed down through generations. We had 2 sons. Ethan, our firstborn, was warm and protective. He laughed easily, helped his father in the workshop, and always checked on me when I came home tired. Caleb, 5 years younger, was quieter, watchful, sensitive. I told myself, different but loved just the same. Or so I believed. Every Sunday after church, we sat around a dining table Henry had built himself. Ethan talked about his plans for the future. Caleb mostly stayed silent, staring at his plate. I used to worry about him, thinking he felt overshadowed. I had no idea what he was actually thinking. 25 years ago, everything changed. Ethan was 20 years old when he didn't come home one October night. We waited. Midnight passed. Then 1 a.m. then dawn. They found him at the bottom of a river gorge. The police ruled it an accident. I accepted that explanation because the alternative was unbearable. Caleb stood beside me at the funeral, calm and dry-eyed, while my world collapsed. Henry held me so tightly I could barely breathe. I thought my family had suffered the worst pain imaginable. I was wrong. After Ethan's death, Caleb transformed. He became attentive, gentle, helpful. He fixed things around the house, sat with me when I cried, told me he'd take care of us when we got older. I thought grief had matured him. What it actually did was teach him how to hide. Years passed. Caleb married a woman named Laura Charming, soft-spoken, always smiling. They had 2 children, grandchildren who called me Nana and climbed onto Henry's lap like kittens. For a while, I believed life had given us mercy. Then 6 months ago, Caleb suggested we update our will. "You're not young anymore," he said kindly. "We just want to protect you." Something in his voice made my stomach tighten, but Henry agreed. We trusted our only living son. That trust would almost cost us our lives. Because, as we lay broken at the bottom of that cliff, Henry finally told me the truth he had buried for 25 years. The truth about Ethan's death. And the truth about the monster we raised. But what Henry confessed next made me realize our son didn't just kill once. And he never planned to stop. The wind cut through my bones as I lay twisted among rocks and broken branches. My body screamed with pain, but I didn't move. I didn't cry out. I didn't even breathe deeply. Because Henry had whispered the words that froze my blood. "Pretend you're dead." Above us, Footsteps crunched on gravel, slow, careful, unhurried. Our son wasn't panicking. He was checking his work. When the footsteps faded, Henry's fingers trembled against mine. His voice was barely a breath. "Hilda, I should have told you this years ago." I wanted to scream at him, to demand answers. But fear pinned me to the ground, stronger than pain ever could. "The night Ethan died," Henry whispered, "he didn't fall." My heart slammed so hard I thought it might give me away. Henry swallowed, each word cutting deeper than the last. "Ethan came to the workshop late that evening. He said he'd found something he couldn't ignore anymore." And he paused. His breathing grew uneven. "He told me Caleb had been stealing from us. Small amounts at first, then larger. From the business account, from the savings we'd set aside for you." I felt a wave of nausea. He said, when he confronted Caleb, "Your younger son didn't deny it." He smiled, told Ethan he was only taking what would eventually be his anyway. The image of my quiet, soft-spoken boy twisted into something unrecognizable. "Ethan threatened to tell you," Henry continued. "He said he wouldn't let his brother destroy our family." Henry's grip tightened. That's when Caleb lost control. My ears rang. "They argued by the river gorge," Henry whispered. "Ethan called me from his phone. He was shaking. Said he needed help. Said Caleb was following him." Henry's voice cracked for the first time. I got there too late. Tears slid silently into my hairline. I saw Caleb standing at the edge. Ethan was down below, barely alive. I shouted. Caleb turned and said, "Dad," he slipped. Henry inhaled sharply, and I believed him. Or maybe I needed to. The police arrived soon after. Caleb cried, shook, played the grieving brother perfectly. And I stayed quiet, Henry said, because I was afraid. Afraid of losing another son. Afraid of what the truth would do to you. The confession crushed me more than the fall. For 25 years, I had hugged a murderer. I had trusted him with my home, with my grandchildren. Above us, a rock shifted. Footsteps again. Caleb's voice floated down, calm and cold. "Mon, Dad?" My chest tightened. I wanted to answer, to beg. Henry pressed, his fingers into my wrist a warning. Caleb sighed. Must have slid farther than I thought. A pause. Then laughter. Soft, satisfied. He always was dramatic, Caleb muttered. Both of them. My blood ran ice cold. A shadow passed over the edge. Something small tumbled down Caleb's phone. He wasn't calling for help. He was filming. "We need proof," Henry whispered urgently. "If we survive this, we need proof." Caleb's voice echoed again. "I'll tell the police it was fog." Poor footing, tragic. I felt a warm trickle down my temple. The world blurred. As darkness crept in, one thought burned brighter than pain or fear. My son wasn't afraid of killing. He was practiced. But the next thing Caleb said on that mountain made me realize he wasn't there just to kill us. He was there to erase us. The first sound that came through the darkness was my own heartbeat slow, loud, relentless. Then came Caleb's voice. "It's done," he said casually, as if he'd just finished locking a door. "They won't be a problem anymore." Henry's fingers tightened around mine. I felt him shift slightly, careful not to move the rocks beneath us. Caleb paced above, boots scraping. Funny how life works, he continued, talking to himself. All these years, playing the good son. And in the end, it's still not enough. There was a pause. A lighter flicked. I carried this family, he muttered. I deserved more. That's when Henry's other hand slid slowly into his coat pocket. The recorder. Years ago, Henry had bought it to document business meetings. He'd forgotten it was there until now. The red light blinked faintly, hidden by the fabric. Caleb had no idea. I watched Ethan die, Caleb said suddenly, his voice sharp with memory. He begged, promised not to tell. But once someone sees the real you, they're already dangerous. My stomach turned. I pushed him. Caleb went on. Not hard. Just enough. Gravity did the rest. I bit my lip, so hard I tasted blood. And tonight, chuckled, tonight is mercy. They're old, cold. The mountain will finish what I started. Henry's breathing shook, but he kept the recorder steady. Caleb stopped pacing. You know what really annoys me? Sighed. Dad pretending he didn't know. Mom pretending she didn't see the signs. All that silence. His footsteps moved closer to the edge. For 25 years, I waited. Waited for the business to be mine. For the house. For the accounts. And now I don't have to wait anymore. I felt Henry's fingers trace a message into my palm. Tal Ivy. A sudden vibration echoed. Caleb cursed under his breath. His phone he'd dropped it earlier, but this sound was different. A second device. His watch. He glanced at it and scowled. Already? Damn it. He turned away from the edge. I'll come back with help in the morning, he muttered. Play the grieving son again. Just like always. Footsteps retreated. Silence swallowed the mountain. I exhaled for the first time in what felt like hours. Henry slowly pulled the recorder free. The red light was still on. We have him, he whispered. I wanted to believe that. But then Henry's hand started shaking. What's wrong? I asked. He swallowed hard. Battery's low. My hope wavered. We need to get out, I said. Now. Pain flared as I tried to move. My legs screamed in protest, useless beneath me. I can't walk, I whispered. Henry looked at me, eyes wet but determined. Then I'll drag you. Before we could move, a beam of light sliced through the darkness. Caleb's voice returned too close. I almost forgot. He's come. I never checked the bottom. The flashlight beam crept toward us. My heart nearly stopped. Henry clicked the recorder off and shoved it deep into his coat. Caleb laughed softly. Mom always said I was thorough. The light froze right on Henry's face. Well, Caleb said quietly, look who's still breathing. But what Caleb didn't realize was that one single sentence he spoke. Next would seal his fate forever. Caleb didn't shout. That was the most frightening part. He simply stood there at the edge of the gorge, flashlight steady, eyes flat. No anger, no panic. Just calculation. Well, he said softly, this complicates things. The beam lingered on Henry's face, then slid to me. I saw something flicker in Caleb's eyes, not fear, but irritation. Like we were a problem he thought he'd already solved. You always were stubborn, Mom, he said. Even now. Henry shifted in front of me, without thinking, shielding me with his body. You don't have to do this, Henry said, voice shaking but firm. It's already gone too far. Caleb laughed once, short and humorless. Too far was 25 years ago. He stepped closer, boots crunching. You chose silence. You boasted. And silence has consequences. My mind raced. The recorder. The low battery. Time slipping through our fingers. You killed your brother, I said, forcing the words out. And now you're trying to kill us. Caleb tilted his head. No, Mom, I'm cleaning up a mess. Henry took a breath. Caleb. The recorder is still running. For the first time that night, Caleb froze. The mountain seemed to hold its breath. What recorder? He asked calmly. Henry lifted his coat just enough for the red light to glow faintly through the fabric. Caleb's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Henry met his gaze. You confessed everything. Silence stretched. Then Caleb smiled. You always did overestimate yourself, Dad, he said. Do you really think a recording saves you? He took another step closer. Who do you think they'll believe? A successful businessman? Or to old people who fell off a mountain? My stomach sank. Visit my channel to listen Part 2.